Oops. All right. First of all, this should say 2.4. There we go. Fix that. So today we're talking about congruent supplements and complements. So this says angle 1 is supplementary to angle A, and angle 2 is also supplementary to angle A. Well, if here's angle A, how large is angle 1? Well, we would do 180 minus 70 and get 110 degrees. So there we go. How large is angle 2? Well, if angle 2 is supplementary to angle A, we would do the same thing and get the same answer. So as you can see, if two different angles are supplementary to the same angle, then they are congruent. And that is exactly what our first theorem says here. So, so we would abbreviate supplements of same angle are congruent. So if they're supplementary to the same angle, then they are congruent. Similarly, if angles are supplementary to congruent angles, so this is the same angle, congruent angles. Well, congruent angles are almost like the same angle, right? They have the same measurement. So we would say supplements of congruent angles are congruent. That's what that one would look like. Now, of course, the supplementary rules also follow with complementary. So angles complementary to the same angle are congruent. So we would say, or let's see, complements, to keep the same thing, of same angle are congruent, and complements of congruent angles are congruent. All right, so we can use, those are some more tools for, in our toolbox that we can use for proofs. It says, make sure you know these theorems in their proper order, hypothesis to conclusion, to recognize when you can use them based on the given info. So remember, we have to have supplements, right, or complements of the same angle or congruent angle. So here we go. Let's take a look at this proof. Oops. So first of all, we have angle 1 supplementary to angle 2, angle 3 supplementary to angle 4, angle 1 congruent to angle 4. So we have 1 supplementary to angle 2. And 3 supplementary to 4. So we could also, and then we have 1 congruent to 4. So 1 is congruent to 4. 2 is supplement to 1. 3 is supplement to 4. So we could say, I mean, when they say 1 is supplementary to 2, that means 2 supplementary to 1 as well. So 2 supplementary to 1, 3 supplementary to 4, 1 congruent to 4, we can say angle 2 congruent to angle 3, and this would be, this would be supplements of congruent angles are congruent. Next, we have, actually, we're not going to write the whole proof. We're just going to, these are like 2-step proofs, so we can just write our conclusion and state our reason why. So A is complementary to angle C, and DBC is complementary to angle C. So we have these two angles complementary to the same angle. So we could conclude that angle A is congruent to angle DBC, and the reason would be complements of the same angle are congruent. All right, let's see. We have KM perpendicular to MO. We have PO perpendicular to MO. And then we have KMR congruent to POR. So we want to prove ROM is congruent. Oh, wait. Yeah. ROM is congruent to RMO. All right, so let's do this one. This is an actual prove, not just state the conclusion. So first of all, we have KM perpendicular to MO, PO perpendicular to MO, and we have angle KMR congruent to angle POR. All right, so what we need to say is before we can say complementary, we have to have right angles. So we're going to say, remember, perpendicular meets right angles. So we're going to say, we're going to say angle KMO and angle POM are right angles. And that's perpendicular means right angles. And so now that we have that, we can say that angle RMO congruent to angle ROM, and we can say complements of congruent angles are congruent. So when we have, once we have the right angles, we can see from the picture that the two angles together make that right angle. You know, if you want to include in there, if you want to step 2.5 in there, you could say angle KMR and angle RMO are complementary. And then you could say angle POR and angle ROM are complementary. It's not a bad thing, right? So, yeah, and then this would be if two adjacent angles equal equal right angle, then complementary. So that could go in the middle there, but if we can see it from the picture, then we could go right to complements to talk about the complements. All right, so one last example. Let's look at homework problem number 1. You won't be assigned it, so we're doing it now, but this is number 1 from the book. Angle 2 is complementary to angle 3. Angle 4 equals 131 degrees. Find the measure of each of these angles. Oh, this is going to be fun and easy. Well, if 4 is 131, angle 3 would be 180 minus 131, which is 49 degrees. So this is 49 degrees. If 2 is complementary to 3, then angle 2 would be 90 minus 49, which is 41 degrees. Angle 6 is vertical to angle 4, so that would be 131 degrees. And angle 5 is vertical to angle 3, so that also would be 49 degrees. So there we go.